Hey guys, Khadroth here. Today I've got a PSA for you guys, a little bit of an emergency one about the Dev Diary number 3 that just came out on NA. So for those of you guys that haven't seen, I highly recommend you go watch it. But in summary, we are getting the Appends system and servant coin systems early on NA. That also includes other things like being able to increase the QP cap to 2 billion and being able to increase the level cap to 120. So now we're going to be able to grail ourselves even higher. We're going to have a much bigger pool by which to operate with in QP, and we're going to have the append and servant coin systems. Now, again, I don't have any editors handy. This has actually been a little bit one of the reasons why I haven't produced as much content here on YouTube lately. There's just a lot of real life stuff going on for them. So this is actually going to be one long take from me. So bear with me as I try to go through this as quickly and as efficiently as possible, but I want to cover some of the basics so that you guys don't get caught out by this change coming so early. Okay, so again, guys, we're getting the Appends system early, and you guys should know I do have another PSA video out there about Append skills and sort of what they're like when they first come in. That still is largely relevant because this is exactly what we're getting on NA. JP hasn't made much in the way of changes to the system yet. We've gotten stuff like Grail casting, but I don't think you guys are going to see Grail casting early on NA because it's locked behind the Tunguska singularity and completing it. So because that is, again, story locked in and of itself and way down the line still, I don't think you guys are going to see that come early. Again, another thing going on here is obviously grailing. So because you don't have grail casting, because it doesn't look like we're going to get the 90 plus nodes yet, although they did kind of hint that in their recent news post with some more information after the dev diary, it's possible we get it eventually. But I think for now, the assumption here is going to be that you should probably focus on your appends before grailing. And the reason why is because the appends are going to be a little bit easier to do. And they've told us that one of the big concerns with the append skills is going to get addressed. So, thanks to the fact that we know that, appends are looking like the better choice for right now. And to be fair, even on JP, they kind of are just the better choice anyways. But grailing without our 90 plus nodes means you guys can't farm out your 5-star embers nearly as efficiently. So grailing to 120 gets really bad, but we'll cover that when we get to the grailing section. So anyways, first off here is our appends. Now, if you guys are unaware, there are common skills that every unit has in their appends. Appends are sort of like a passive skill that every unit gets. But again, the first two are common. They're the same for everyone. The latter one is different depending on your class and who you are. So we'll cover that in a little bit more of a summary later. But begin with the first one is your extra attack finesse improvement. Now, again, this one is not just your damage. This is also going to be your performance in terms of NP gain and stars generated. So there's a lot to be said about this skill and why it can be good. It's not my first go-to choice for most people in terms of the append that I want to go with first, especially if we're on a budget because we don't have a lot of servant coins. But it is going to be the one that I think is going to be good choices for challenge units and solo artists or anyone that can manipulate cards to their advantage. So some examples of this for like challenge and solo artists are going to be someone like Herc, someone like Ku. Again, maybe you're going to put them out on an island and just kind of have them go. Or again, someone that gets extra benefit from it, like Space Ishtar, who gets extra attack damage increased on her NP. So again, that could be another good synergy for this skill. But then you've also got units that can manipulate the cards. So someone like Summer BB, who maybe you're going to be card locking enough that maybe you find yourself getting a Brave Chain with her. Or again, even just someone like Bunny, Lartoria Summer, basically, who's going to end up getting a scenario where she can lock out someone's cards with her new upgrade coming here in Summer 4, which is coming next, by the way. And then she will be able to, as a result of that, see a lot more Brave Chains because the fact that she can eliminate one unit's cards from the deck. So that then means that she's way more likely to see the extra attack, and thus having it improved on her can be a really good thing. So again, there is that going forward, but it's like I said, it's not going to be the guaranteed go-to for everyone that I want to do. Instead, for most people, the very first skill I'm going to go after here is the mana loading. Mana loading is super, super good, and I can't even begin to tell you all the plethora of ways it can be used. It's one of those things where this is starting charge at the beginning of battle for every unit that you have this on. So even just unlocking it gets you 10% charge. But if you manage to take it all the way to rank 10, you guys are getting 20% charge. And by the way, leaving it at rank 9 won't allow it to round up because they kind of screwed you on the percentages there. They were smart. But still, so certainly 20% gauge can be very useful, especially if you guys start thinking about this from having just say like a normal K-scope. So for all you free to plays and cheap to plays that just had one K-scope, but you didn't have a MLB super scope out there, congrats. This system now gives you the ability to have a super scope in effect. You don't still have the damage that a super scope, basically having an MLB scope leveled all the way to 100 would give you, but you still have the effect, which is being able to start at 100% charge. It's really nice for sort of making your comps a little bit more malleable for how you structure your team and everything. But it's also going to be really good just in terms of charge requirements, in terms of, not even talking K-scope, but maybe like a 50% CE, combine a max level mana loading with a 30% person who's able to charge that much, and then boom, there you go. They got there without the help of any support. So, or again, you can combine it with other supports to start from no charge or something like that. So it's really, really good. I've also seen some people say like, oh, well, there's units CAD that charge 100% and they don't need it necessarily, right? Well, there's still some good examples of where that could be useful. So let's talk about someone like, say, Nidochris. Nidochris has 100% charge in her kit, and you might go, hey, well, the 20% charge is not that good, right? Well, here's the thing. If you actually have it and you have it leveled up, let's just talk about like double Castoria over here, and maybe we're going to plug suit him, so this Castoria will be in the back line. But maybe then you have like another DPS unit here, so typically what I call them is DPS 1 and DPS 2, but we'll just say that this is Nidochris, right? Maybe we need Nidochris to handle 2 waves. So she's got the 20% append here on, and we're going to rotate the Castorias through and buff the party. The deal here is we only need then 80% of the double Castoria's charge on that Nidochris to get her to full. That allows her to handle the first wave, and then she can charge herself back with her skill on the second wave and handle that herself. Well, why does that matter? Because you just saved 20% from one of these Castorias, one of their targeteds, that then can go on this other DPS. And because they got the 60% overflow from the 30% skills that they each have, okay, that other DPS is at 80% charge now because they had the 20% targeted themselves. If they had their own append, they're at max and they're able to handle their wave as well. If it's like one of those weird 90 plus nodes with a single enemy wave, that could be your single target person. And you didn't even need charge on them then. Or maybe, who knows, maybe they end up not having their append unlocked at all because you maybe couldn't get it done, but then maybe they're a 20% charger or something like that. There you go. There's another scenario where just being able to spare the charge to put onto someone else can actually be really good. And who knows, you may even put it on one of the Castorias themselves to get them to full, to allow them to NP in the natural course of the 3-turn, or even in a challenge environment. So having mana loading unlocked on everyone can be useful depending on how you structure your team. And that's kind of why I say this. There's also units that can take advantage of it even if it's not maxed. So you start thinking about the Curry boys, aka Arjuna and Karna, who both have like weird 25% charges. You start looking at this and go, well, wait, 5% could round up if I just really want to feel safe for whatever reason. I can do the rank 6 for the 15% even. And then that's going to synergize really well. You've also got a lot of vampires out there that max out at like 27% charge because they don't have the full 30% like Vlad does. So what you could do is you could either lower their skill to get it to 27% and then take again, obviously your obviously your 13% here to help modify that and make it a solid block 40% charge. Or you could also just not level theirs all the way and leave it at rank 9, spare yourself the crystallized lore, which you guys are going to need a lot of since we're probably not going to get an increase in lores, and then use that to kind of help supplement. So that's sort of a little bit of a treatise here on why mana loading is so good. Then we get to the sort of the non-common skills up here, the attack damage aptitude and the critical attack chance resistance. I'm going to start with the critical attack chance resistance because Basically, only Berserkers get this. And I gotta say, it's not that good. Like, it can certainly be useful. Like, let's say we're talking about Herc here, where we know we're gonna put him out on an island. He's gonna be soloing stuff, and you're maybe gonna throw him into all sorts of challenge environments. Well, eventually you might, face some sabers. And if you have the coins to spare, there's nothing to stop you from actually unlocking and leveling this. But you maybe don't want to focus too much on this in terms of like some of his other Append skills, like we talked about, the extra attack Append being super good on him. So it's not that big of a deal, honestly, for him to have this one unlocked, but it can still be nice for him. But still, it's one of those deals where it's restricted to only against that one enemy type. So if you're not taking them against that particular enemy type, it's not that useful for you. Also, you may have some Berserkers that don't necessarily fit that niche where you don't care that much. For instance, even like Morgan Le Fay, this is absolutely her worst one to unlock because she naturally has critical attack chance resistance as a part of her third skill. It's part of her gut skill there, and that's the one that she has on the skill is absolutely like covering every class versus this one being restricted to just Saber. So it's obviously going to be the odd man out and the worst of her Appends to level versus some of the other ones like mana loading or extra attack being really, really nice for her. So there is that. And again, as you guys go through, there's one for just about every class. There's even some rarer ones, like you guys can see. The only one here that has it against caster enemies is Eric Bloodaxe. But still, I don't find critical attack chance resistance to be that good. I think it's a relatively weird one as far as things go. But still, I think as far as the attack damage aptitude goes, there's definitely some good stuff. So as we start talking about the attack damage aptitude, you guys can see it's also class based, and that is definitely a nice thing about it on the flip side here, because this is going to give people advantages over other classes that they didn't necessarily have, rather than it being a particularly defensive thing and only for crits, right, with the other one. This one is going to allow us to have an advantage over things. You might be thinking, well, but Kat, a lot of these don't matter. Like you can see the people that have anti-saber, a lot of them are like sabers and riders and stuff. So it's like, it's not like archers are getting this. In fact, if you look through here, there is no archer that has advantage against sabers with this third append. So there's a lot of these that are just relatively useless, and it's why this third append skill here is considered to be the least useful, but there's still some people that it's really good for. And to point this out, there are some people that actually have advantage in here. If you scroll down to say, I think it's Ryder, hold on here. Yeah, so Ryder, again, you guys can actually see, looking at this, holy crap, Sathino is an assassin and has anti-Ryder attack damage aptitude. So she's going to get more damage against the class that she was already effective against. That's pretty good. That's a good synergy right there. Similarly, there's other units that where maybe it falls in their niche. So a classic example of this that I like to point out is we can go up here and look at the saber damage aptitude again and go like, well, but Cad, who here is going to have extra damage against sabers already to begin with? It's actually going to be Mordred. Mordred's anti-Arthur-faced aptitude here that she has as part of the niche on her NP helps her deal more damage to anyone that has the Arthur trait. A lot of those people are saber class. So in her niche, she is getting more damage against people that she was already going to deal more damage to. This is great. You're already probably going to be taking her in those scenarios anyways, so you get a little bit of a synergy here to help you out. So Mordred's third append here is better than most others because of that. And so that's what you guys got to look for, is people that actually have some good ones to go with. Again, I think another one to easily point out here is, let's scroll down to Ruler. And you might be thinking, well, Ruler's not that great a one. I don't want to take some of these classes against Ruler. Maybe if it was a Berserker or something like that, right? Well, there's someone here that already deals more damage to Rulers, and that's Kiara. Same sort of deal. She has a passive that helps her deal more damage to Rulers. So the fact that they gave her anti-Ruler attack damage aptitude, really nice. You're also going to see some synergy with regard to alter egos. Watch out for them. So I think it's, is it Caster? Yeah, so anti-Caster attack damage aptitude, you have someone like Okitan here who actually is already going to be somewhat effective due to the fact that she's an alter ego. So this is another nice synergy. And then there's one class where we could say it's always good if you have this on there. And I bet you guys can predict this. It's Berserker. All of these people, this is a good third append for, because they were already effective against Berserker anyways. This isn't you trying to take them against something that they were resistant for that you probably weren't going to take them anyways. This is them just naturally already in their wheelhouse dealing more damage. So the fact that they get even 30% more is just crazy and good. So all of these people are especially good. And then you could also see there are a couple foreigners as well. So they get a double dip on top of this. So this is fantastic for that in terms of effectiveness. But like I said, I think this is this third append varies wildly depending on, again, like sort of who you have it on and what class it's targeting. If you can find a way that it's a little bit more synergistic, it might be worth your time. But still, like I said, the other appends might be more worth, just depending. So again, that's your appends in a nutshell. Now, servant coins are going to be how you guys are going to unlock your appends, or how you're going to grail to 120. The problem is you're going to need a lot of servant coins, and there's only 2 ways to get them right now. This is one of the things that I actually expect, and possibly the reason we're getting this early on in A, is that JP might finally address this. They might give us a new method to obtain our servant coins, or at least expand one of the methods that already exist. How that could be is, I don't know. They could give out, again, class-based coins, or all coins, or something like that. Let me know what you guys think as to how they could help this system. I've also talked about, like, they could possibly put servant coins into training grounds, or put them into event shops, so that it's still somewhat gated and you can work towards the units that you maybe don't have enough coins for over time. So like I said, I think there are ways they could expand it while still keeping the system in check and from going wildly out of hand. But who knows? We'll see if they do that. But for right now, the only ways you can get it is by leveling up the bond. And basically, again, it's going to also be from rolling copies of them. However, to explain this, this is a nice handy dandy chart here on Fandom that I think is going to make a lot of sense for you guys. When we first get the servant coins, by the way, they're going to go into your mailbox. They will not overbloat your mailbox. Though, like, they will, but they won't actually count towards the cap. So you guys are safe to have stuff in your mailbox. It's not going to destroy your mailbox by having that stuff in there. But then you also have, again, when we first get them, a plethora of coins are going to get given out. They're going to get given out for your 4 stars and 5 stars due to the number of copies you roll. For your 3 stars and lower, you will not get any for prior retroactive copies of that unit that you rolled. Instead, it will only be any copies you roll from that point forward. So that is a way that the low stars get shafted. You only get the coins that you would get for them for bond. Welfares work the same way. You're not going to get any coins for your 4-star welfare units. Only the bond coins is going to be what you're going to get, not for the copies. So again, your welfares and your low star units get shafted, especially amongst that, the limited and story locked, like, low stars. Okay, the 3 stars and lower that are limited or story locked, you can't easily get more copies of them. They're not available in the FP pool, and you're not going to retroactively actively get credit for having rolled them. So that's a huge problem, and that is unfortunate, but that is just the way the system works. It's how they implement it on JP. It's how they're going to implement it here on NA. That being said, the number of copies you get will be determined by rarities, or sorry, number of coins you get will be determined by rarity and the number of copies you rolled. So again, with our 5 stars, you're going to get 90 coins for having rolled them for each copy, regardless of whether or not they're limited, story locked, or permanent. It's always going to be 90 coins. Your 4 stars, though, do vary, as again, a limited 4-star gets you 50 coins, as well as a story locked, but your permanent 4 stars only get you 30 coins each. That's really rough when you start considering that to even unlock one append is 120 coins. To even grail the unit one time past 100 is 30 coins. So it's not a whole lot going forward there to help us with that amount, and that's kind of why, again, the 4 stars also get the shaft here. The 5 stars still all get 90 regardless of their type, and that's kind of, again, why I think this system was a little bit designed poorly. I get why they did it, but they should have tweaked this because some of these numbers are incredibly low. Now, all of the problem with that, though, goes away if we get other sources of coins, but we'll see. Same thing here. Your limited 3 stars will get you more coins. It'll get you 30. Same thing as your story lock. So you will at least get more coins if you do roll them, but you're not going to get retroactive credit for having rolled them, unfortunately. But this is an advantage because NA is getting this system early to point things out. If you guys actually remember Morgan Le Fay's first banner from JP, Morgan Le Fay was on that banner as well as Barghest and Balbon Sith. But you also had in the background there Kucaster. Kucaster is a story locked caster. He becomes really good in the Buster meta down the line because he's able to 3-turn things. He's able to work with Black Grail. He's one of the most broken units because of that. But he's just a 3-star and he's story locked. The problem was when JP rolled that banner, their Appends system and their servant coins weren't out yet. They didn't know about it. It was just not a thing. So they didn't get any servant coins for him. And then when the banner comes back after anniversary, he's not on it. So they just got screwed and they didn't get any coins for Kucaster since none were given out retroactively. NA is going to get the benefit of that. We're going to get coins when we roll that banner because we'll already have the system. So that is going to be to our benefit. So there are some advantages to getting this system early, while there are some disadvantages as well. But again, that is going to be one of the issues. Also, this is going to be predominantly how you guys are going to get the majority of your servant coins for Grail casting later on, is going to be by doing FP summons. This is why once we get this, guys, we're going to go ahead and tell you with regards to your FP, don't hold on to it too much. Make sure you do your daily roll every day. I actually have another video on Grail casting and a spreadsheet to show you guys the FP calculations for that. But certainly a lot of people were looking forward to both Annie 5 this year with the 5x super success rate and Gouda 5 with the extra CE experience craft essences that they give in Gouda 5, as well as Nobukatsu. But a lot of people were also sitting here going, well, servant coins aren't out yet. I think I'm going to hold on to my FP until Annie 6 and the Gouda 5 rerun. Now you don't have to do that on NA. Now, again, because of the fact that we're getting servant coins now, your FP is freed up again. So again, FP is going to become absolutely fantastic, especially as a source to hoard your servant coins for low star units. And you guys can see there are 4-star units in the FP pool like Lily that will still give 30 coins. So it's definitely nice when you pulled them, especially if you already have all 5 copies. So again, I will state that you guys should probably start out by unlocking the Appends on all of your low stars first, because it's going to be easy to get the coins for them. Obviously not for the limited and story locked ones, because that's just a problem with them. But certainly for your permanent ones, it's going to be very easy to unlock it, and you should just go ahead and do that. Then start accumulating coins towards Grail casting into the future. But again, that's going to be a really, really nice thing about having this. You're also going to get, like we talked about, coins from bonding. Just remember sort of the thresholds for how this works. This is not dependent on rarity. This is sort of locked in. But so for the first 6 levels, so if bonds 1 through 6, you guys are going to get 5 coins each for a total of 30 coins. For bonds 7 through 9, you're going to get 10 each for a total of another 30 coins. And then for bonds 10 through 15, you're going to get 20 each for a total of 120 coins. What this means is that basically your bond curve with regards to servant coins is going to ramp up over time. It also means that if you guys really want to max out your coins for the unit, a lot of the gains come in the back end and make it very hard to get what you want. But certainly some synergy here is like, again, a 5-star with just a single copy, right? If you get them to bond 6, you're going to end up getting 30 coins plus the 90 that you got from that. That's going to get you the 120 that you need to unlock your first append. So bond 6 NP1 is a very common like stopping point for that people go to try and get the mana loading unlocked or something like that. But again, this is going to be sort of an issue, especially when you start thinking about like the fact that you only get a total of 180 coins through bonding. Okay, this means that, yeah, if you need 300 coins to level a unit all the way to 120, because you need 30 coins per grail and you need 10 grails, again, it's going to be pretty rough on you. It's not going to make this whole system easy. So that means that you're going to need extra copies depending on what you're doing. Even for a 5-star, in order to take them to 120, you're going to need at least MP2. And this is why some people malign the system as being only for whales. I'm going to say that's rather narrow-minded and short-sighted, that people look at that way. Certainly, though, I can agree that like that is a limitation of the system and it's a problem. But again, like I said, I do believe it'll get addressed into the future at some point. Still, again, I think the Appends system and the servant coin system, that's only an issue if you start looking at Grailing to 120. I think when you start looking at Appends themselves, the system is ridiculously good for free-to-plays. It's actually leveling the playing field with whales, because whales don't care about like a 20% mana loading nearly as much, right? They have the super scope to start at 100% charge. They have the chargers capable to make their comps work in every scenario possible. They have the high MP levels to deal the damage. So the whales certainly can still get benefit out of the system, but they don't care nearly as much. Whereas the free-to-plays get huge gains from being able to level up the Append skills and increase their capability of their accounts. That's an amazing thing for free-to-plays to help them catch up to whales in terms of capability. So there's that. Now, again, on top of that, we can sort of mention the fact that, yeah, there's obviously going to be breakpoints with this. There's definitely some good resources out there that I've already seen in the community. I'm not going to bother to try and cover that. But I think the next thing to talk about, guys, is sort of grailing to 120, because again, I know this is something that a lot of people want to do. And the reason I'm kind of trying to caution you about this at first is, like we talked about, if we don't get the 90 pluses, being able to grind your Append skills is going to be a little bit easier to do versus grinding your grails, because you're not going to have those 5-star embers. And remember, guys, basically a 4-star gold ember gets you about 30k experience. A 5-star one is going to get you about 100k. So it's almost 3 times more efficient in terms of both your QP usage while leveling, and as well as just the ember gain, the experience gain from doing that. So not being able to grind those out very easily is going to be annoying. Also, the only real source of them outside of events or campaigns now is your FP pool. So again, another example of why doing your daily FP roll is going to be great for you if you guys want to work towards grailing. Now, I'm going to pull up Chaldea app just for a point of reference here, because it's worthy of noting. But if you guys look here, this is the amount of experience that you need to go from 100 to 120. Okay, so this is important because if you guys look, it is 12,540 embers. I think someone said this is north of 500 boxes in a lotto just to do one unit from 100 to 120. And another point of understanding here, guys, is for every level past 100, so just to go from 100 to 101 is roughly the equivalent of going from 1 to 100. Every time you level up past 100, it's leveling to 100 again. Leveling to 120, I have a 120 Lartoria on JP. This basically means I have leveled her to 121 times. That's how much experience goes into this, and it's monumental. I wanted you guys to understand just how much it is, because that's why these systems were put into the game. Both Appends and Grailing to 120 are meant to be long-term goals for your account. They're meant to be resource sinks to help the devs out, buy them time, and keep you playing, keep you to have your goals so that you don't get bored with the game. Don't sit there and think, oh man, I gotta do this day one. I gotta do this right now. It's gonna be an undertaking. It's gonna take you guys a long time. And I'm actually gonna turn on the 5-star embers here just so you guys can see. Even just for 5-star embers to go from 100 to 120, you need 4,000 of them. So it's understandable that you're really going to want that 90 plus node to help you out. And this is why, again, I'm pushing you guys towards work on the Appends first. Certainly don't screw yourself out of your coins, especially if you know you want to 120 a unit. Make sure you're understanding the amount of coins it takes. Remember, it's going to take 300 coins in order to grail a unit to 120, okay? It's also going to take 360 coins if you want to do all of your Appends. So the total, if you want to do everything on a unit, is 660 coins. And that's not going to be doable for most people. In fact, if you guys remember, just talking about NP5, right? You guys get 90 coins per on a 5-star. So that's what? 4,500 coins, unless I'm doing my math wrong. Sorry, 450, not 4,500. That's still going to be a lot there. But remember, you guys only get 180 coins, right? It's going to be rough. It's not going to be an easy thing, I think, for us to do at that point, because certainly it's possible, but you guys are going to have to bond to extremely high levels. And if you guys look at that, you're still short. You're still shy. That is 630 coins if I did my mental math there right. Okay. So You need 660 in order to complete this. This is why the meme of you needing to roll an NP6 is a thing. Again, I'd say this is mostly a thing that I only see on the NA side of things. I don't see JP players freaking out that much and trying to get a 6 copy of things. But I will say, yeah, this is a problem with the system, right? If you want to max everything, you need to do that. But remember back what I said about the appends. The appends are something where it's like, maybe on your unit, not all of them are that good. So what I would tell you guys to do is probably in terms of priority order here is to probably focus your first append, okay? That's probably going to be mana loading or something like that. Then maybe the second one if it's super useful, okay? Whatever the other useful append is. And then your third priority here is going to be Grailing if you want to, okay? So that means the last man on the totem pole is whatever their most useless append is. Whatever that append is, you don't necessarily need to unlock it. That's how you save 120 coins and still have enough without rolling an NP6 to be able to address most of the stuff. If you're a perfectionist, you guys can go for it. Again, I'm not here to tell you how to use your money or anything like that, but certainly trying to get NP6 is not the greatest use of your resources. So that's kind of why I'm pointing this out. There are ways you guys can be efficient about this and still not feel like you're gimping your unit somehow or something like that. But yeah, just understand that is going to be a little bit of the issue with Grailing. So with regards to this, guys, they also came out and said recently that they're going to be giving out materials for NA because we're going to be mat locked in a sense. And just to make this a little bit clear, I actually had a buddy of mine, Zen, help me out when they first announced this, where basically we figured out and said like, hey, yeah, we're not going to necessarily have everything kind of work appropriately. So what Zen did is Zen figured out what the limitations are. So like fairy scales or bells, because some people's append skills need them at like the high levels where they need mats from LB 5.5, from LB 6. And we went, oh no, that's going to be a problem. So Zen compiled a list of here's all the people that have this issue. Here's all the people that need this help. And certainly this is useful to know, but then they did update us. They did let us know, hey, we're actually going to be giving these materials during events and quote, etc. So they didn't specify all the ways in which they're going to give us these materials early, but they will until we do get the story chapters that allow us to farm them. So they're actually going to be adjusting our event rewards. And this is hilarious to me as someone that helps upkeep the event material spreadsheet. So it's definitely going to throw that off in terms of its perfect accuracy, but we'll deal with that as we deal with that. But still, it's going to be a nice thing to see. Okay, so that is meaning that we're not going to be nearly as cock blocked as mat locked for this as we are for other things like, say, the Grailing until we get the 90 plus nodes. But do keep in mind that it's probably going to be fairly limited. I could also see the possibility of them doing something like giving us the Arc 1 improvements campaign early. I had talked about this on stream, but what that could mean is stuff like getting pure prisms early, stuff like getting tutorial missions early. Again, stuff like getting the party cost readjustment for low levels early. Because what those things do is they actually help new players adjust to the game and get invested in it a lot quicker and easier without nearly as much hassle. So it's a really, really good thing for player retention for the devs to give us that stuff early. I wouldn't be surprised to see that come in the form of, you know, maybe our Annie 5 update or something like that, where they're pulling it ahead, because JP just got some of these updates in January this year. So they haven't been out that long, but these would be huge quality of life for every server to have on it. And again, pure prisms would be another mechanism by which we could get some of these things. So that could be one way that they do that if they give them to us early, since they're given out via story reward and stuff like that. The other thing could be that, again, we know they're giving them out via events, but what if they also did hunting quests? So we know they've already done a NA unique hunting quest before. They kind of teased that to us, and it was honestly not that good of one. But what if all of a sudden we start getting hunting quests that have some of these new mats in and allow you to farm it? That would definitely be a thing that would actually make the NA server go a little bit crazy to try and scramble to collect those materials to help out with this append issue. Because again, sort of what's happening by bringing the Appends system early is you're getting this massive squish of about 2 years worth of mat needs and planning all into one right here, right now in NA. It's getting accelerated and brought forward. Now, I know some people probably just went, why'd you say 2 years? Because this is only a year out for NA. The reason is because, again, all of us were sort of looking towards the future in totality. So NA is getting this now, and it would have been out in a year, but JP is already a year removed from its release pretty much now. So we basically have 2 whole years. So, and certainly this is good because having the Appends unlocked is going to change things. You guys know I also produce a lot of the lotto guides. We work on that. We're already working on Shisho Fest. And again, everyone wanted to know my initial reaction to this, but one of my first ones was to immediately just turn to the people that helped me with the guides and go, we're going to have to redo these. And it's not as bad as I thought. We're not going to have to redo the comps that already worked without Appends being leveled or unlocked. But certainly there are people that even just having the Append unlocked for mana loading, not even leveled up all the way, it actually introduces new comps that weren't there before. So this is going to increase the number of options to help you guys farm. It's going to increase the number of things you guys can do in challenge content and stuff like that. I think it's a great thing for us to get this early. And again, I hope this is going to help you guys. So again, I hope I covered everything for you guys here. I tried to do this all in one, take. So if I misspoke on any amount or something, please let me know. Please correct me in the comments below. And let me know what you guys think. How do you guys feel with this system coming early? I think it's potentially a great thing and could really help, again, the NA player base by allowing us to work on this ahead of time before we were ever supposed to get it. So again, I'll see you guys for the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a good day.